Good day, fast and frozen fellows. I'm Unsilent, and this is Jacques Villeneuve's Racing Vision. And it's also the game, Jacques Villeneuve's Racing Vision. From 2002, developed and published by Ubisoft, with input and guidance from 1995 Indy 500 champion and 1997 Formula 1 World Drivers champion Jacques Villeneuve, along with his race engineer Jacques Clear, who has the 1997 and 2014 World Drivers Championships and 1996, 1997, 2009, and 2014 World Constructors Championships on his resume. So what is Jacques Villeneuve's racing vision? Well, the year is 2027 and racing has changed. The drivers are no longer in their cars. They race remotely from inside the world's fanciest simulator that lets them feel everything that the car is doing while keeping the drivers safe so they can take more risks. So somewhere between RC car racing and esports then. The racing has moved from dedicated racing circuits to street circuits. Clearly Alejandro Agag was a fan of this game when you look at Formula E. The cars, however, aren't electric. They sound like they have a V10 in them, and as engines were poised to get smaller in F1 for 2005, JVRV kept engines big. Coincidentally, IndyCar is going to bigger engines with their 2021 engine formula that will see them go from 2.2 to 2.4 liter turbo V6s. Speaking of turbos, the engines have a high-pitched whine that could either be a turbocharger or a hybrid system, not unlike current Formula 1. Closed cockpits? Well, over in sports cars, the prototype cars are mandated to be closed cockpit, while IndyCar will be adding a near-closed cockpit in 2020 with the new aero screen. Some of those front wings seem like mid-2000s F1 cars, or maybe it's closer to Swift's 2012 IndyCar concept, or a first-generation Formula E racer, or even maybe it's like the Red Bull X 2010 from Gran Turismo. Now, the rear wings look like anything from a IndyCar 2018 Speedway kit to F1 2021 wings. So in all actuality, Jacques and Ubisoft, their racing vision isn't that far off the mark. In fact, the most unrealistic aspect of the game is probably the cars having enough visual variety in an era when we're solely going to spec racing. And what is Jacques Villeneuve's racing vision the game? Well, it's a racing game. A generally forgotten racing game to the point where copies of the game barely exist online and copies of the manual don't exist at all online. So my vision of their vision is entirely based on what I see in the game. Also, it's not a fondly regarded game, as critical reviews of the game are generally middling at best to below average at worst. But rather than talk about it, let's show it and put the game through its paces and find out what the vision is. Now, the game has, your standard modes. You've got Quick Race, Grand Prix, Championship, Special Series, Time Attack, and Season. I haven't really gone into it far enough to know what the difference is between Season and Championship, but we're not going to be playing a whole one in this anyway. You also got your choice of cars. This is the one I've been using, the default Pegasus, which reminds me a lot of a player's IndyCar if you look at that color scheme, the old baby blue and white. But you've also got color variety with some with sponsors. They all look different too. You've got, see now, you look at the rear wing, that's an IndyCar rear wing. But you've got, look at the front wings, that changes as well when you go to the Phoenix. You got the F1 2021 wing sort of on the back of the Pixis? Whatever the hell you call it. And Serpents kind of has a similar rear wing to the Pegasus, but it also has like a Speedway front wing. And Hydra's got that slightly different rear wing than the Pixis? Or, yeah. So they and different side pods as well. It's nice that they've built a whole bunch of variety into all these cars as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be a real difference in the performance until you actually get the car out on track. But let's go and let's do a quick race. You've got all sorts of circuits, and like I said, they were based on real-world locations. You got Paris, Australia, Taj Mahal, London, Rio, Egypt, Montreal, Osaka, New York, and Rome, and back to Paris. So yeah, I think Rome, Paris. I don't think Australia's had any Formula E, nor has Taj Mahal. London has had Formula E. Don't think Rio has. Don't think Egypt has either. Montreal had. That was a mess. Osaka, I don't think they've done Formula E in Japan yet either, but I could be wrong. I know it's done in China and New York, they have done it there. So actually, let's, for me, stick on home turf and go to Montreal. You can set your distance, you can set your weather. Day changeable, day rain, night clear. You can't have, I guess you can't have rain at night. I'm just going to stick with clear. You can pick your starting position. Setup, I've been running the medium setup. I find pro's a little twitchy. I find easy is just way too understeery. Now you can go in and change it too. That's actually the other nice thing is you can do all sorts of changes, and you can see over on the right what changes, what impact that'll have. So that's handy as well if you want to start messing around. I haven't had too much luck messing around with setups myself. You can have damage on or off. Damage on, we'll play around with that a little. I'll set that to advanced. What the hell, I'm going to get my ass handed to me. And we'll set maximum number of opponents. How much am I going to get my ass kicked? Oh, I just pretended that last race didn't have it. Now we are starting here in this unusual exposition. Now when I first get this is your first impression of the games, you get thrown into facing the wall off the start. So you don't want to get too good a start. But I'm going to try and use every bit of that road there to try and get the car up to speed. But you get that, I figured it was going to be like Formula E where, early Formula... Oh, we crashed. We saved it. We've almost put it off the wall, off the road again. Oh! Cars are apparently very sensitive because we spun him. And then put ourselves in the wall. Now there's a little bit of damage happening. If you take a look at the bottom right, you can see I've got my nose cone and my right rear tire yellow, and then, oh, that's the tire repaired. Oh, we were tapped and just launched wide, and save it. Yeah, there's one thing about this. It does feel in this game like the tires do need to warm up a little bit, so it does have an interesting tire handling model. There's something that you want to say is arcadey. And this is on the medium setup. Usually the pro setup is a lot more twitchy than the medium setup. Just have to back that one out just ever so slightly. Also, you'll notice in the bottom right that switches back and forth between map and radar. Unfortunately, I've not found a way to control it. Oh, we've got our Amazon Web Services onboard telemetry thing. Oh, we've mangled the front wing. Now, if you watch keep an eye on that front wing. Keep an eye on the front wing as it repairs itself. I'm hoping it's going to be enough repaired for this high-speed section because we need the downforce. Car repairs itself as it goes along. But you can feel it because there was no downforce there for a couple seconds there. And it was getting hard to turn. Our Amazon Web Services draft speed counter. So that way you know how much speed you're gaining in draft. Hop on the brakes because those orange corners, if you notice that there's a bunch of that the turns are indicated in the on the heads-up display. I find the orange turns are harder to take than either the yellow or the red turns. Oop. Hit the wall, hit the wall. Let's engage the autopilot. Here's something under 100 kilometers an hour. You can have the autopilot engage. You can make some tweaks to your car. Oop. But you can have the computer drive it for you, so that way you don't have to worry about some of those maneuvers. Here it is, late race dive up the outside. It's not going to work. We're going to drop into the slipstream. The good thing is it tells you when you drop into slipstream. and see the advantage it gained by being in slipstream, even briefly. Okay, yeah, I know, final lap, but pretend that actually helped. Oh, we've caught up the blue guy. Ooh. Hold it. We managed to hold on to that one. Yeah, that thing, this can get a lot tricky at low speeds, especially when you try to apply the power. It can snap the back end around you, even though it's got traction control. As inspired by Formula 1 at the time, which had a whole plethora of driver aids. In this case, it didn't seem to help too much here. We've got a draft, we've got a slipstream, we're coming up on a low speed corner, so we nearly take the front end of the car off. Whoop! And again, it's in turns, coming out of those slow speed turns, it's very easy just to almost lose the car. Oh, okay, I did lose the car there. Just a fortunate placing of the barricade managed to save me there. Try and hold inside line, and we'll come across the line in P4. Just missed out on the podium by 3 seconds. It was a decent comeback. But, yeah. One weird thing about this game, though, I don't think they thought, oh, look, 4th, it says right there on the screen, is, yeah, press start button, it doesn't skip you. You gotta go to the menu, and you gotta do it like that. Now, there are, like I said, there's a bunch of tracks. Actually, one of the more interesting ones is the Taj Mahal, because it is kind of a take on Pocono, actually. Let's, give that one a look-see. Just because that one is a fun, chaotic way to race. Once again, no rolling starts. You gotta start in the X. Just skip it and go straight to the start.
Go.
It's lights out and away we go. I don't think I've got the right setup. I've got the medium setup again, but I don't think it's particularly good. Now, I mentioned, I think this has a bit of like tire warming up that has to be done. Because usually you can go a little faster through there, and it feels a little more stable through this turn. So we're starting up front. We've got a bit of a lead now. This is like turn 1 in Pocono. Only it feels a lot sharper. Because I gotta back it down a lot more. You don't want to hold on to the car. And this one reminds me a lot of turn 3 at Pocono. Not as critical because you're not going onto the front straight. Now this here, yeah, this reminds me a lot of the tunnel turn 2 at Pocono. It was interesting, like, of all the tracks you model something after, you make an oval in India near the Taj Mahal, and you base it off of Pocono Speedway. No catch fences, though, which does not seem safe. Alright, let's do final lap. We'll walk you through. Oh, I'm so busy thinking about talking my way through the final lap, I almost crash. That's one of the challenges of doing a racing LP. Is that you want to talk your way through it, so there's not a lot of dead air, but at the same time, you realize the second I start talking, the second I stop thinking as much about driving and hitting my marks. Back off, I was getting in the throttle. I was a little anxious to get in the throttle. And that was on the middle difficulty as well. You just gotta wait on the rest of the crew to show up. But look, there's your trophy, kind of ghostly in the middle there. And just wait for someone. There is 10 and change seconds behind is Mr. Hell Racer. See, it's just like esports. People are using stage names instead of their real names. This is how they usually use it in esports. Alright, let's take a look at the special series for a second. So you've got a bunch of different types you can start. I took a look at this earlier. You have You get the beginner difficulty unlocked for all of them, but you've got all sorts of different sort of themes. You've got the, I guess, the short tracks. And you've got the, okay, I guess the highway section, okay. Road tracks. Oh, from more randomly selected tracks to, oh, you've got changeable conditions, rain, night racing, you're based on geographical locations, take off the assists, a lot of understeer. Oh, well, that's great. That's kind of standard, isn't it? All the assists on. Oh, that doesn't sound like fun. No ABS, minimal traction control. Oh, a random one. That doesn't sound good. Grip. Makes it less likely to skid. Trade-offs cars as fast as before. Or as a driver for a more tactical race. Actually, that sounds... Oh, you've got... Oh my god, all sorts of stuff. It's a marathon of it. 1 hour of driving. Oh my goodness. All tracks in random order. You've got one track... Oh boy. There's all sorts of stuff in here, right? Try grip one. Sounds interesting. So race duration 5 minutes, car damage, collision. And because it's the first one, it's got a skill beginner. Let's try the grip challenge and see how that goes. Okay, we're on to Australia next. The first one, the trick is that it was high downforce but high drag. So I know at least what I'm getting into for Australia in the rain. So we've got to qualify at... Oh, Mika's P2, but he's got the slowest time of everyone. So am I targeting... Actually, so am I targeting Mantra with the 06.2? Alright. Oh, we're just on the clock. Oh, we've got 2 laps to get her done in. Oh, what an interesting course. You got crossovers and everything. Oh! I was expecting a lot more grip there, but I guess we are in the rain. So it'll be... What the hell does that mean? Sorry, got so distracted about the purple. There's an era before purple mean fastest. Just hit the curb, we'll come back this way. Oh man. It's just there's no front downforce though. That's the thing. Take some rear downforce out of it so I could get the thing to turn. And this is start finish. 109.7. Well, that includes a little break for changing the setup. Oh, that's loose now. That is very loose through there. See, it's gone from feeling like it has a sufficient quantity of grip to feeling like it has... The rear has all the grip and the front has none of it. So this will be interesting to see how we're gonna do against my previous lap and against the fast lap, because there's no interval markers in here. That seems like a big omission for the game. Try and attack that apex. Yeah, attack that second apex just like that. We're gonna do that shortcut again. We'll see how we go here. Best lap 58, okay. Considerably faster than the opposition. See, that's the problem when you've got the max grip challenge, you're in the wet, in a tight and twisty circuit, and it's like, we're gonna put you at a disadvantage by giving you a car that's slow in a straight line, but fast in the turns, on a track that's got one straight worth a damn.
3, 2,
It does seem like an odd challenge.
go.
I was gonna say, it really doesn't matter how well I get off the line, because I'm just gonna get murdered off the line. There goes everyone. Oh! I'm up. I'm on my side. Crap. There we go. We're good. Okay, last the first challenge then. It is raining a lot harder than it was in quali, which actually should, hypothetically, be advantageous to me. Now, one thing I'm going to call it, now if you noticed in the Montreal track, the curbing was all, it was maple leafs, red and white, very Canadian themed. Now here you would think they would go, oh, I've accidentally activated target. Ow, ow. Just changed setup very quickly on the fly. I've accidentally activated target. Now, target. That's another thing. It gives you information on the car in front of you. Or whoever, I guess, is... Oh, got by him. That way, in case you want to know what's happening with the car in front, you can. It's basically, I'm not sure if that's something that they have in F1 in the cars, but it is definitely something that could be fed to them via the pit to car radio. So it's not necessarily a, it's a strategy thing. It's not driver aid. Not telling them how to drive the car. Just, that's telling you how the competition is going. So it's a little thing. I imagine they probably had that when they were... Oh, the rain's picked up again. Let's imagine that's something that they would have had in Jacques' day in F1. Late apex, cut down. Oh, it's washing out. It's washing out. They're gutting the throttle a little too early because all that extra grip. And unfortunately leads to all that extra understeer. Oh, into the wall. Yeah, there's the disadvantage of the high grip setup, or the high downforce, high drag setup, is that he was able to blow by me on that little microscopic straight. Again, this is the one turn where I feel like I have no front grip. And it's on a downhill, which would tend to oversteer a car. Long right-hander as we come back to the main straight. No, not quite. Oh! Just when I thought I had a lot of rear grip, they do something like that, and I have no rear grip because the back end is coming around. This is a long one that does tighten up quite a bit at the end. We'll breathe the throttle, that way we can get a great exit there. And you see, the problem with the challenges on beginner difficulty is that you can just quickly walk away from the field and kind of demolish them, kind of like this. So it's not really as fun as you'd hope, anyway. Alright, let's try something different. Let's do Grand Prix at New York. Let's do a night race in New York. How's that sound? Oh, that's a long track. Maybe do 3 laps instead. Alright, here we go. Flying lap. Just a little bit of car damage. Just to make things extra fun. So we are New York at night. I figured New York would be the most fun one to do at night. Just because you're racing through, well, downtown New York. Not shuttered off, shuffle off to the docks like they are for Formula E. We'll make that attack through there. There's a lot of tight and twisty sections, but there's some fast sections in here as well. Ah, this turn. That should be an orange turn. Oh, that was a hard hit. Yeah, that turn should be an orange, not a yellow, because I have taken that one too deep every single time. I like the curbs. They are America curbs. You had the Canada curbs, you had the America curbs. Like the Australian ones, I was starting to say, should have been green and yellow, like the Australian national colors, and not red, white, and blue. I realize that's what's on their flag, but do they compete in athletics in red, white, and blue in Australia? No. I mean, you could have gotten really aggressively. I was gonna say really aggressive in Australia. Well, maybe, but you could have gone with like the maroon and was it baby blue, sky blue? Some very State of Origin-esque colors if you go with that. So, now this is an interesting section, because watch this. Watch the mini-map. We're going off to the right here. Now we're going to come back to the left. We're following it, but just keep in mind where we just were. We're going to take this left, and then a slightly sharper left. Okay, a lot sharper left. I somehow managed to engage reverse there. That's a good trick. Okay, ignoring that I engaged reverse. Yes, we're going under where we just were. We are in a tunnel underneath the part of the racetrack we were just at. Now we get to come up the... Now this transition is a nightmare in this car. I've wrecked a few times there, but we managed to pull that one off. I have no idea how we're going to do. 28. Okay, I probably didn't help myself by crashing repeatedly. Oh, and taking out, putting car in reverse. Alright, so, hey, everyone's got headlights on their cars too. That's very important to note. Kind of makes me wonder what would happen at, like, Singapore or Bahrain if one of the lights suddenly went out and you've got a small segment of track that is without overhead artificial lighting. Ooh, that was close. People are just scattering everywhere. We're gonna be a bit more daring into the first turn than the opposite. Oh! I'm in reverse again! I was leading until I accidentally somehow ended up in reverse. Did I brake a little too hard? Managed to pull that off. Oh, that was tighter than it looked. A lot of these turns are tighter than they look as you come up on them. That's some argy-bargy there. Gonna cross the line. P3 or 4. Actually made up a position in there. Oh man, I just realized that UI was covering the apex there on that left-hander. So I didn't know where I was going for half a second there. Not that you know where you're going when it goes to radar mode. Now I just gave myself a tick more rear brake, and a tick more traction control. That was a daring move there into P2. I'm gonna try and bring it back across. Oh, this thing does not... It's not as nimble as you would expect for, like, say, an F1 car. It's almost like it's got no power steering or something, which I'm sure is something Jacques would be very appreciative of. Actually, I think a lot of old-timey racers would appreciate not having power steering on top-flight open-wheelers. Finally made that damn turn on the final lap. Missed that one. Missed that one by a wide margin. Alright, into the don't call the fountain section. Reminds me a lot of the fountain section from Belle Isle. Oh! Spun it. Get it in gear. Oh, we lost a lot of spots. One mistake. That's kind of my mantra if you're here for racing games on the channel and you ever find Need for Speed Underground 2, it's what I say, just takes one mistake. Well, we will. Oh wow. He's got a lot of top speed dialed into that thing. We're not gonna have enough time to catch him. One more lap would have been fine. Or one fewer. Points. Alright, so here's season mode. I'm not entirely sure what's happening, except it looks a lot like challenge mode, doesn't it? So, yeah, let's do that. Let's, okay, we're starting with hang on. We're gonna, just do the European thing. Rome. Okay, apparently we're starting on beginner. Don't get a say in the matter. You know what? Qualifying's for suckers anyway. We're fine starting from the back of the grid.
Three, two, one, go.
And it's countdown and away we go! Racing around Rome. Of course, this is... Whoa! We've been dumped. We didn't even get to the Coliseum section and we're already backwards. Hurts us through that section because we don't have any downforce. A lot of rhythm sections through here. A lot of slow speed sections. Oh, strange behavior on the road as well. You can see that guy went packing. This, just kind of... I ride this one without the throttle for most of it. So we kind of battle our way through it. Onto the straight. Oh, we're all crashing. That's a problem without the map, is I don't know what the next turn is. Oh, let's take that dive up the inside. I'll take 2 in as many corners. I don't think we're gonna get 3 in as many corners, but sometimes it's all you need is a little bit of... Oh, just clipped the wall there. Hey, we got driver R6 right in front of me. Now this goes a little bit to the right before coming back. Oh, crap. I think I might have hit him. You know what? It doesn't matter how the race is won or lost. All that matters is that... No, don't update. Don't save nothing. Apparently, no. It just doesn't take no for an answer. UI is catastrophic in this game, though. You want an example? You want an example? Alright. Part of the problem with this game. How am I going to change my name? Circles and squares. To scroll through all 8 characters you get in your name. Oh, and country. Nope. Same thing. The only thing you get to do is change your age by going left and right. So at least that it has that working for it, which is nice. It has split screen, which is, again, that's nice. Yeah, the driving on this is fine, but that's just it. It's fine. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just there. I mean, when your alternatives, you know, you've got some PS2 F1 games that I understand were pretty decent. I think it was by, what, Liverpool Studio, I think, around this time. And then you've got the... Oh, you would have also had the EA games as well. I don't know if they were on the PS2, I would assume so. They're definitely on the PC. You've got, like, the Gran Turismo games as well. You can start to see kind of why this kind of falls down below the alternatives as you play it. Because, you know, the driving physics are okay. Not great, not terrible. It's a little hard to handle. Some of how much of that is down to controllers or not, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, okay, like the collisions are diabolical. The gravel is just atrocious. So it's really hard to drive unless you drive it perfectly. And that's tricky. Like, exceptionally tricky. Just because it can feel a little snappy on the oversteer, under braking, and on acceleration from slow speed corners. And it just does not feel nimble. And it feels very lethargic at times when you're turning as a result. So it's not great. It's got its moments where it's really fun. It's just not very often. I found in that race, it's just like most of the time I'm just crashing into shit. Well, mostly other people. So it wasn't exactly my idea of fun. To just careen you out of control. Not my idea of fun. There's a good idea in there, like the vision itself. I like the vision. I just don't like the execution, if that makes any sense. I think Jacques was onto something. And Jacques were onto something with their visions of how the cars would look, and not so much how they would drive, but where they're racing. And some of the fancy stuff, okay, maybe is a little much, but it's not like the auto drive and the, you know, pit stops on the fly and the auto repair. But most of the other stuff doesn't seem too far off the mark when you think about it. So the vision's good. I think in the hands of a better developer, you would have a better game. But we'll never know, because there'll probably... Will there ever be another, like, Racing Vision game like this? I kind of doubt it. Anyway, that'll do it for Speed Challenge Jacques Villeneuve's Racing Vision. One of this year's Christmas specials. It's still better than Flat Out 3. I mean, it's a low bar. It's better. It's probably until about, like, a couple hours from now when the other Christmas special goes up. It's probably the best game I've played for a Christmas special, in all honesty. As middling as I think it is, one, I think there's potential, and two, it's still, out of the 3 Christmas specials to this moment, still the best game I've played for a Christmas special. So you got that going for you, Ubisoft. And hey, also, pre-Ubisoft fascination with towers, eagle vision, and microtransactions, so that's also a plus going for you, Ubisoft. Anyway, that'll do it for Speed Challenge Jacques Villeneuve's Racing Vision. And until we see you again, I'm Unsilent. Thanks very much for joining me. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new. Share on social media. Follow on social media. The social media handle is Unsilent On Air, and that is for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. Don't forget, you can check out more classic and not-so-classic games in the various playlists there on the screen, in the description down below, and more videos anytime on the channel page. And until the next time, I'm Unsilent. Thanks very much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.